Lamplight presents The Ghost of Christmas Paws by Mandy Morton. Narrated by Jenny Funnell. Chapter 1. The early arrival of winter was taking its toll on the town. Since the middle of November, the residents had been cloaked in icy fog and torrential rain, punctuated by 2 heavy falls of snow, which, though beautiful, had driven cats indoors and brought life to a standstill. Now, with only a week to go before Christmas, a new threat had come knocking. A virulent strain of cat flu, which was sweeping the town with terrible consequences. Local businesses had closed their doors in a vain attempt to stop the flu spreading. Elsie Haddock hadn't fried so much as a chip for 2 weeks in her popular High Street fish emporium. Hilda Dabbit had abandoned her dry cleaning business and taken to her bed. And even Shroud and Trestle, undertakers, were running a skeleton staff. Malkin and Sprinkle, the town's department store, had been forced to impose the wearing of face masks in their food hall to fight the germs, and the haberdashery department had been closed altogether since Lotus Ping collapsed behind her counter in a bout of violent sneezing, upending the button cupboard and burying herself in an avalanche of fancy fastenings. Turner Page's newly opened library had closed its doors for fear of the flu being spread via the books, and he had offered his mobile library van as an overnight shelter with hot soup and biscuits for cats who had no permanent refuge from the weather. There had been a number of fatalities, although it was hard to say how many, as most sufferers had isolated themselves and were dying unnoticed in their beds. Agnes Featherstone Clump, the local district nurse, was at her wits' end in trying to administer to the population, and if Irene Peggledrip, the town's psychic, hadn't offered her house as a makeshift field hospital, more cats would have been awaiting burial in Shroud and Trestle's refrigeration unit. Betty and Beryl Butter's pie and pastry shop was one of the few businesses still standing, and served as a beacon of hope in a sea of coughing and spluttering. Beryl herself had succumbed in the early days of the outbreak, but her sister carried on bravely, keeping the bread ovens fired up and administering large mugs of beef tea to her flu-ridden sibling, nursing her back to health in time to dress the Christmas window. The No. 2 Feline Detective Agency.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?